Hey, are you a business owner, entrepreneur, or professional? If so, we want you to apply to be a featured guest on our show. My name is Adam Torres, and I host the Mission Matters series of podcasts. I've recorded over 3,000 episodes, and we are just getting started. How do you know if you'd be a good guest to be on the show? Well, only one way to find out, and that's to apply, but I'm going to let you in on a little secret. We want guests that have a story to tell, guests with a brand, a product, or a service that can benefit my audience of listeners. If this sounds like you, go to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to apply. I'd love to talk to you and get to know more about your story. Again, head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to apply. All right, now let's get into the show. Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at AskAdamTorres. And if you'd like to apply to be a guest on the show, just head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to apply. All right, so today I have Navneet Aron on the line, and he is founder and CEO over at Livio Building Systems. Navneet, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me here, Adam. So good to be here.
All right. So I'm excited to get into Livio. I'm excited into what you're really doing, the real estate market and development, and your plans for scaling. I think your concept's unique, your model's unique. One of the reasons we're happy to have you on the show. And just to get us kicked off, let's start with our Mission Matters question. So Navneet, we at Mission Matters, we amplify stories for entrepreneurs, executives, and experts. So that's our mission here. Navneet, what mission matters to you?
Yeah, Adam, thank you for that question. The mission that matters the most to me is to bring efficiency to the construction industry. I'm an electrical engineer by training, but over the last 10 years in the construction industry and real estate development, I find it to continue to remain to be archaic. And there's so much that can be done to make industry efficient, which has so many benefits for everybody. So to me personally, what matters is to really make the construction industry as efficient as possible.
Man, that's awesome. Love bringing these mission-based entrepreneurs and mission-based businesses really to our audience and introducing them. And I guess let's go. So you mentioned you started out in engineering and in construction. So let's go further down that path. So tell us a little bit more about like what led you on this journey.
Yeah, so I was born in India. I'm an electrical engineer. I have an undergraduate electrical engineering degree from India, worked in India for about a year and came to Stanford University to further my electrical engineering and ended up learning a lot about a lot of different things. And since then, for the last 20 plus years, I've lived in the Bay Area in high tech, worked originally in the high tech space, software engineer, product manager, and so on. And along the way, made several investments in different tech stocks. And ultimately, there was a point where I wanted to diversify and go beyond tech investments and stumbled upon real estate development as an opportunity, not just as a passive investor, but as an active developer. So started as a developer in 2013 and started scratching the surface and kept getting more and more and more intrigued about how inefficient, how pen and pencil and paper driven development happens to be, how many phone calls you need to make or things you need to chase in order to get projects completed, and in general, just the state of the development and construction as an industry, and found it to be an amazing white field playground for myself to apply everything that I learned on in the technology industry, best practices on lean construction, lean methodology, lean decision making, and grabbing the opportunity to innovate in the space. So yeah.
What a journey, number one, and to see what you're doing now with Livio. So let's get more into why you founded Livio, like how you founded it. Like, tell us a little bit about that story.
Sure. So like I just mentioned, originally in 2013, started as a real estate development company, started growing. We raised, we had a unique structure even as a development company, which has also grown. So we have an active development company even today, which is doing really well and growing. But as a development company, our challenge was to first find great opportunities to work on, which is highly underutilized pieces of land to develop, underwrite them, raise capital for them, and then build a good team to pursue them: architecture, structural engineering, the general contractor, and the works. what we found was we were constantly struggling with general contractors who we were hiring, and we were putting band-aids and whatever it took to make it work. But still, the projects were behind schedule. They were over budget. There was no transparency, and we felt there got to be a better way to do things. So ultimately, it got to a point where after putting a whole bunch of band-aids, and we were fed up with it, and we decided to do it our way and launch our own construction company. And that was the foundation of Livio Building System, designed from ground up to be extremely efficient.
Yeah, let's go. So when you say efficient, like you designed this thing from scale from the inception, like what was your vision?
So the vision was, can technology make execution on site extremely simpler and straightforward? And so today, in a traditional development company, in a traditional construction job site, especially in the residential side of things, a lot of the unknowns are figured out on the job site. A lot of the questions, I'm talking about thousands of questions, are typically found out or answered on the job site. What does this do? It makes the subcontractor or subcontractors people on site start and stop. And there are hundreds of coordination issues which are then discovered and have to be resolved, which causes massive change orders because people haven't thought through it. If one trade's work is impacting other trades' work, it causes cost overruns for those other trade-offs. And the owner or the client ends up paying for it. And this causes frustration, this causes cost overruns and time delays, the regular problems of construction industry. So the vision from the beginning was, well, can we do it in such a way that whatever we do on the job site is almost 50% more efficient? And we have a methodology, our tools and platform and mechanisms to make that happen today. And the second part of it is, you don't need to do everything on the job site. There's a lot of the construction that can be done off-site. So we have both of those pillars as key foundational principles or pillars of our execution, doing more and more and more off-site, and doing whatever we have to do on the job site in just a much more efficient way. So those are two principles which enable us to do what we do today.
So so my obvious question here has to be like, how's it working? Like in terms of the data that you've accumulated from this, being an engineer, I know you're data. So how's it working? Like, were you able to, or are you able to increase efficiency?
Absolutely. We have driven up the efficiency in all our projects extremely well. So let me give you a simple example of where does that efficiency come from. And I'll first talk about how to do things more efficiently on the job site, right? In a traditional residential construction project, the architect would do their work, the structural engineer will do their work on paper and plans, and many other consultants, the landscape engineer and many other consultants will do their work. And the plans are approved. However, when stuff starts becoming real on the job site, that's when you find out, hey, the structural engineer's plans do not align completely with the architectural plans. For example, the window might be going, or a door might be going to 9 feet or 10 feet tall, but the structural engineer has a beam which is 24 inches from the top of the ceiling, and you just can't fit it together. So that's just one example, and there are thousands of examples that happen. So what we do is we build the entire building layer by layer by layer: civil, structural, architectural, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, tiling, countertops, roofing. Every single detail, every single trade is modeled out in a full-blown software model. It's called VDC, Virtual Design and Construction. So you can imagine that we have built the whole building, or whatever the building might be, the house or a hotel or multifamily home, whatever the project is fully designed in full fidelity in a software model. And as a part of that, all of these gaps and clashes are identified. Hundreds of questions are asked to the right people and therefore resolved. Also, a lot of the times from an end consumer or owner's perspective, the decisions to be made, like, hey, what will exactly be the size of the sink or the size of the mirror or whatever, those decisions may not seem like they need to be made early on, but maybe that mirror has an LED and for LED light on it, and therefore the light needs to be electrician needs to run the wiring to that spot to make it happen, right? So there's a lot to be thought through. So this process forces all those questions and decisions, thousands of them, honestly, which our team works with the clients and other consultants to flush out all of them up front. And then they get kept they get captured on individual drawings in our own proprietary format, which are called IFC, issued for construction. And these drawings become the basis of contract between the subcontractor, us as a general contractor, as well as the client. So it's a three-party agreement, which is based on deeply technical and precise information that the subcontractor then goes to the site. And as a result of these drawings, which are available to them in paper, but also available to them on our mobile app, which allows the subcontractors guys to immediately find the relevant information for the task at hand and get any questions answered through the mobile app, talking to our project managers in English, Spanish, etc. But bottom line is all of this, what it does is it provides precise direction to each subcontractor. Construction industry is a labor-intensive industry. Most of the money in any construction project goes into labor. If you can provide precise, specific, exact information to the subcontractor and their guys on time, they can be 50% more efficient. And that's what we drive today. Our subcontractors are happy as a result of it. They make more money. If they don't have to pay to their guys for twice the time, they put more money in their pocket. They love it. And that's what this is all about, to make the industry more efficient.
Man, Navneet, the way you explain it and what you're saying, it seems to me like, and of course, I'm not a developer, by the way, and I know it's very difficult business. I know there's a lot of moving pieces, thousands of people potentially involved in one project, right? But the way that you just described it, it just seems so logical. Like shouldn't it have always been done that way, if possible, right? If technology was around, like this would be, if you could start all over, like this is how it would be designed.
I agree. Technology has made the world such a small place. As things evolve, we have seen a lot of, in the last 10 years, we all have seen amazing innovation in taxi industry, in hotel industry, and many other industries. Construction industry happens to be one of the most complex, with thousands of people, like you just said, need to work on each project. It's hard to bring efficiency. It's only possible because you got to be able to build the platform, the software tool. So today we have a full-blown construction management software platform, using which our team can manage the entire life cycle extremely efficiently, whether it is the procurement, the contracts, the bill payments, the milestones, the scheduling, the changes in scheduling, the inspections, every aspect of it needs to be managed. And we have built a full-blown construction management software platform, along with a highly talented team. Today, we have about 50 plus engineers on our team, from electrical engineering, electrical, plumbing, mechanical, structural, civil, all kinds of engineering talent, along with a bunch of other teams that I just talked about, to make all of this happen and make sure things are happening right on time every single day.
Man, that's awesome. And I get it, and it makes sense. It's just logical. I'm like, it seems like you've kind of taken a business that was highly complex. You implemented some systems, and you've definitely made it scalable. So we'll talk in a moment about maybe how you plan to continue to scale this. But first off, tell me a little bit more about LGS and its benefits and how this plays into your overall system and design.
Absolutely. So LGS stands for light gauge steel. So in the beginning of the interview, we were talking about two pillars of our execution. One is do whatever you do on site, do it more efficiently. And I just talked to you about. The second pillar is do more and more and more offsite. And that's where light gauge steel comes in. So for any custom project, it could be a hotel, it could be a multifamily, it could be a custom house. For any custom building, we structurally engineer, our structural team engineers the structural portion with light gauge steel. And then our own manufacturing facility in India manufactures studs and tracks for the entire framing of that building. So for walls, for flooring, for roof, for ceilings, for awnings, every single framing that you would typically see in a wooden structure with wood, just imagine is designed and built with steel. Our team then assembles those studs and tracks and different components into panels. So if you can imagine a wall panel, which can fit into a shipping container, and it all gets packaged into shipping containers, just like Legos. Our engineering team also creates Lego-like instructions. They are very similar to Lego instructions. So this is Legos for the real world. And our own team assembles them on the project site. It cuts down the time of execution of assembling on site by almost 60% in framing alone. And as a result of it, we are able to contractually guarantee the timeline to our customers, and guarantee the cost overall in our model because of everything that we do. But timeline is a big part of our LGS operation, because we are able to, as a result of what we do, we are able to do things much faster. There are many other advantages of light gauge steel per se. LGS offers essentially, since it's steel, the chances of mold are much lower. Just the moisture performance. Therefore, it is also used quite a bit in parts of the U.S. where there's a lot more moisture, for sure. But it is also a sturdier product. It is lighter, has better earthquake performance, has better performance under wind conditions, and so on. So structurally, it's just a better product. It's also more precise. Instead of the traditional 100-year-old methodology of framing houses, like if you were to see pictures of how houses were framed in 1800s, it was just like how traditional wood framing is done today, for the most part. Bunch of people on site cutting lumber, unfortunately not being extremely precise. And then they have to explicitly do things like have a step in wood framing structures where they straighten the wall. There's a step called straighten the wall. Well, steel structures are precision engineered and they are precise, and therefore you do not need to straighten them. They're precise, they're machine generated and fit. So there are many advantages of building with steel, besides just being fast. Traditionally, building with steel has been extremely expensive in the US for a variety of reasons. We systematically bring down the cost because we are the only company which has vertically integrated every aspect of designing, manufacturing, and erecting on the job site all by ourselves. So we take the prime contract as a general contractor and we perform every aspect of what I just talked about. And as a result of that vertical integration, we are able to bring down the cost to meet or beat the cost of wood framing for our customers, right? So that's really what LGS is about. It's about bringing efficiency by doing things offsite, just-in-time delivery, and faster execution for a higher quality product for the same price or better price.
Amazing. So tell me about, you mentioned it briefly, but let's go further. So the types of projects you worked on, I think you said hotels. Tell us a little bit more about the types of projects you work on.
Yeah, so majority of our portfolio right now of the projects that we're working on are single-family custom homes, but we also have a townhome project that we are building as a construction company. We are building a high-density, mixed-use structures as well with light gauge steel and usage of concrete structures. So building 3-story above ground with 1-story underground basement, a retail level with a whole bunch of parking and so on. So those kinds of projects. So it's a combination of all kinds of projects that we're working on. Hotels is our newest frontier. We are about to sign hotel contracts, and essentially that will be an area where LGS is especially very well suited for because of the fire rating required. So wood is a combustible. Wood structures are food for fire. Wood is food for fire. Steel structures don't burn. It's not combustible material. So they are renewable and so on. So there are many advantages of it. But overall, as a company, we see 3 divisions for us, 3 different specific. Custom home is one of our primary segments and where we are growing really, really rapidly. The second segment is multifamily and mixed use buildings that I just talked about, that we have existing contracts and projects on we are working. And the third one is hotels, where we are starting to essentially do projects.
So, so what's next for Livio? I mean, obviously you've done, end-to-end integration truly. I mean, as you mentioned, I mean, I'm just trying to picture this like real world Legos, like it sounds awesome. And so, end-to-end integration there. And so now like scaling this, the business is obviously set to scale. Tell us maybe about the capital side, or like you raising money, like what's next?
Yeah, so our operations in India, the factory operations, we also have about 100% team in India right now. And I'll tell you both about how do we scale from here. So the factory operations will think of them as a automotive factory where so far we are only building chassis. The frame is like a chassis for a car. Yeah. What's to come there beyond what we're working on is running rough electrical through our panels, so running rough plumbing, rough insulation, and as much what we can do in our panels. And everything has to be certified. We fly inspectors from US to India all the time. We're completely compliant with California codes as well as rest of the United States building codes. So that's one of the big things we're working on. A lot of the capital that we will be raising will go towards building in the capabilities to do more and more and more in our offsite factory, which then translates directly into faster execution on site for developers, for end homeowners, customers, and so on. So that's one of the major areas of growth for us. The second area of growth for us is geographical growth. We just started going outside the Bay Area region in California, and we have chosen Austin and Texas to be our second market. But that's just a second market. We are seeing some great opportunities in Austin, but we definitely plan on expanding beyond Austin and doing work in a large number of cities in the U.S. in the next few years. So certainly it requires marketing. It requires all kinds of effort to bring in customers and have teams on the ground, etc. So that's where we expect the capital to grow. We are set up to be extremely lean, though. One of the things I would say, we are very capital efficient. In our methodology, 95% of execution of each project, whether it is procurement aspect of it, site execution management, et cetera, every aspect of construction work, 95% of each project execution is run by a highly talented group of engineers and project managers and project engineers from India. We fly drones on our job sites. We have sophisticated cameras like OpenSpace and some of the other sophisticated cameras, which allow us to capture footage daily, sometimes multiple times a day, from live cameras as well as other drones and cameras that we use, which enables our teams in India to make decisions every single day. We even do quality assurance, quality check on a daily basis on our project sites remotely from India. So all of this technology and methodology and process and highly talented group of people set us up for an explosive growth in a very, very capital efficient and lean way, which is extremely hard for construction companies. Historically, construction companies have not been able to be capital efficient because you just need, traditionally, everybody has tried to do it all locally. So it prevents, either you do everything by investing heavily in an expensive set of tools and equipment and people in a local geographical market, which prevents you from going to other markets because you become slow it's just hard at that point, or you're just not able to offer much in terms of services if you want to have a larger geographical footprint. I believe our model allows us to be global in nature right from the ground up. And scale in a very lean way, in a very capital efficient way. And as a result, we have been able to have the engineering talent that I talked to you about, which nobody else can actually afford in the arenas and in the competitive spaces that we compete in the ways that we try to compete.
Man, that's awesome. Well, Navneet, I am excited to watch the journey and watch the growth of Livio. I'm excited to see you continue to be a pioneer in that industry and to, increase efficiencies and really just, we don't hear about, construction or some of the more traditional fields. Sometimes we don't hear about true disruption. I think your model and that end-to-end experience, this thing was designed like a phone almost, or something else, to where you control the whole supply process, like everything down to the erection side of putting the building up, as you mentioned. So all of these things are, I think it's great. I think it's interesting.
Thank you.
So Navneet, if somebody is watching this right now, whether they're, looking at projects or whether maybe it is VC or other things like that, and they're looking at investment opportunities or just otherwise, they just want to, follow the journey of Livio and watch the progress. What's the best way for people that are watching this right now to connect with the brand?
Absolutely. Thank you for that. Well, I would say the best way would be to go to our website, which is www.golivio, GOLIVIO, golivio.com. And the other way would be to send an email to team, like teamwork, TEAM, team @golivio.com. Those would be probably the best ways to get in touch with us. We are also on social media and Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and so on. And but you can just search for GoLivio or Livio Building Systems, and we would come up.
Fantastic. Well, Navneet, again, thank you for coming on the show today. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. Hope you got a lot of value out of this. Hope you learned a lot. If you did, don't forget, hit that subscribe button. We definitely want you to be a return listener and a return visitor. Have many more mission-based entrepreneurs and businesses coming up for you, and don't want you to miss a thing. And Navneet, it has been a pleasure again. Thank you for coming on the show.
Adam, thanks for having me on the show. Thank you so much.